People who tried LSD or any other hallucinogens, what was your experience like? I've done shrooms multiple times, but the first time the trip actually had me hallucinating went like this. It's hard to explain, so wish me luck. So I'm sitting on my buddy's couch, he's playing some super cheesy trip music. I'm looking at his ceiling and it's stomped like a pattern, and I'm zoned on one section of the ceiling. And I see a turtle start to form, but it doesn't get realistic. It looks like it belongs there. I'm staring at it, and I'm thinking, man, these shrooms suck. I look away for a split second, and lose the turtle, and realize how hard I'm tripping. I start laughing. For a good 10 minutes I'm laughing harder than I ever have. I realize I hallucinated the turtle, and then the ceiling starts waving and forming all sorts of shit. I got a weird feeling, like almost seasick. Went outside and it was perfect. All the colors were bright and everything was moving with my breathing pattern, which usually happens when I do shrooms. 18/10ths would trip again. Have done LSD a good number of times. Your experience really depends on you and your mental state at the time. My first time I cried because I felt so loved, and I think the biggest thing I took away from my first time was I was able to understand things from others' points of views. For example, I was having a disagreement with my parents, but when I did acid I was able to see that, even though I disagree with them, they were only trying to do what they thought was right for me, because they love me. It's very eye-opening, especially the first time. It is one of the most amazing things I've ever done. I've been genuinely happier ever since I did it about a year ago, and my life is more productive. I cried for hours during it just at the beauty of everything, and let go of all the pain I was holding in. God, it was beautiful. You feel it in your stomach first, all loose and almost numb, bubbly. Then it creeps to your head and fingers and you start feeling overwhelmed with something. When you're flush in the face you can either start laughing at little things, or being a little uncomfortable at little things. This all depends on your situation. It's pretty important that you don't do LSD on an empty stomach, because that always makes me feel too sick to enjoy myself. When you're full blown in the trip you'll notice color vibrancy is through the roof, and things will start breathing visually if you stare long enough. Talking becomes difficult, but understanding is all over the place. A sense of anxiety is normal, and feeling like you have to go outside/inside is part of the process. It's hard to get into nitty-gritty details as every trip is different. But when you come down, after around 7 to 9 hours you'll most likely be really hungry. Your back will hurt like a motherfucker, and you'll be insanely tired for at least another day. Altogether, LSD is my favorite drug for its profoundness, length of time, and minimal come down. However, it's absolutely important you're 100% comfortable with a situation before you take acid, otherwise the smallest things can spiral you down in a bad trip of worrying and stress. I've eaten mushrooms a bunch of times. They call it tripping because it really feels like you are taking a trip away from yourself. In my experience, there is no tripping a little. Think alcohol buzz or a little high on pot. You are either tripping or you're not. Once you are, get ready and enjoy the ride. Your mind will race all over, and you'll think of and imagine things that never would occurred to you. Things will make sense in a way that they never had before, but you won't be able to remember them unfortunately. I've tried writing on shrooms and come back to scribbles and incoherent babbling that was life-changing when I wrote it. Oh well. Visuals. You won't see random stuff that isn't there. No creatures or things. What does happen though is everything takes on a sheen like water. Patterns become very cool because they seem to move and shimmer. Tile floors, carpets, tapestries can occupy you for quite a while. Deuce, have a friend with you or someone you can call. Have some music available along with other activities. Coloring, drawing, video games, instruments. Have a cozy safe place to go if you start to bug out. Have comfy pillows and blankets around. Smoke a lot of bud. Have water or juice available. Don'ts, day trip, too many people. Definition not good for your first time. Be around a lot of people. It will just bug you out. Stare at yourself in the mirror. Drive. Get too worked up. If you start getting wacky just remind yourself to chill the fuck out and try to relax. Drink alcohol. They don't mix well, and you'll probably puke. Go near any law enforcement type people or authority in general. They are very scary when tripping. Now IGTG find me some shrooms. I'm all worked up about it. Ecstasy. I started brushing my hair cause it felt great. Then I started brushing my face with the brush and quit that. And I started to touch the walls. I laid in my bed with all the pillows. I enjoyed myself. Shrooms, the trees were wavy, and I kept seeing a peacock patterns on the bushes. I was at my friend's apartment and we were going to walk to my house to get a couple movies. The stairs felt like they kept on going and going. Then when I got my house, I couldn't decide which movie I wanted to take back cause I loved them all. I felt confined to my clothes, and so I had to be comfy. I watched one YouTube video for the times you are on hallucinogens and I couldn't finish cause it freaked me out. I want to do shrooms again. I did LSD once. It was nothing like I expected. I just felt really happy for the majority of it. I would occasionally see strange flickers of hallucinations, but nothing major. There were a few instances where I started feeling really hot and uncomfortable, but once I got away from the situation, I was fine. Looking in the mirror was really fun and weird, especially since my super blue eyes were completely black from my pupils being so dilated. After a few hours, I just wanted to feel normal again, so I went to sleep. The next morning, I was still feeling it, and I could force hallucinations with shadows on the wall. I felt off for about a full week afterward, and I would hallucinate pretty intensely every time I smoked marijuana for a couple years. It was really strange, and I'd probably never do it again. Amazing and scary. I have had good and bad trips when I took them. The good trips were amazing. I saw beauty and color everywhere, and felt like the center of the universe. Bad trips are bad. Duh. I was scared to death of the monsters that were in the room. My friends who were there. I was sure I was going to die. I also saw horrible things. On the bright spot, taking them suspended my chronic depression for quite some time. I really wish that the US would allow testing of the drugs for use with psychological problems and migraines, since they have been shown to be incredibly powerful in treating them. I'll never do it again. My first, and only, trip was bad turned good. But for the first couple hours, I freaked myself out and thought I saw a demon, blood on my hands etc. I was scared as shit. What got me out of that mental state was when I thought about my friends I met that summer. Wow, I was cheesing from ear to ear. I know a ton of people will post touchy-feely stuff about feeling connected with the universe or whatever, but my experience was different. I had those types of thoughts, and it was a great experience. However, when I've tripped, it's always been with my group of close friends. What stands out most to me is the intense happiness and how we all feel so connected to each other. Everything just seems to be funny, and no one is in a bad mood. It's a great time. The entire experience is very fluid and unexplainable. It's much like normal consciousness, like a quilt of moments that are seamed together in a different pattern. Time seems less linear for one, and it may seem at times that cause has preceded effect or something. It's kind of like watching a movie of yourself being in the movie. The entire idea of self is examined. Telepathy seems possible. The first few hours can be a bit uncomfortable, but that gives way to a pretty enjoyable experience. You don't think about food at all. You feel a sensation of becoming part of everyone becoming part of you, and everything being part of the same. Thoughts merge with memories or smells / tastes / colors / feelings. Time becomes extremely malleable. Minutes will become hours and hours will become minutes. Emotions swell and fade intensely but fleeting. Certain aspects of normal logic are completely suspended, like understanding some mathematics, parts of language, etc., while other aspects of cognition are enhanced or completely unaffected. Certain skills like snowboarding or playing an instrument. It's moments of absolute introversion followed by moments of absolute extroversion. I just had my perception changed, and certain images and videos became too powerful to look at. Thoughts and images would become overwhelming, and I'd just have to scream to release. I laughed a lot. Everything is looked at, moved and swirled. It was great to look at clouds and nature as well as paintings and VR expenses. I didn't think of any deeper meanings, universe, profound realizations etc. I feel I have that worked out, I guess.